Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I believe that XRP price is going to shock everyone by the time this market cycle is over. I'm going to share with you opinions from a number of chart analysts, including one who says, look, from a macro perspective, XRP still has a long way to go, and he's still, in fact, anticipating this target that he's been talking about for some time, almost a year to this point, of XRP breaking through $20 this year. You know, the macro trend is still in place. And I get it to a lot of people that get emotional, your typical retail speculators, just whatever direction the market's going, it feels like it's going to do that forever. Back when we had the laser eyes and the diamond hands and Bitcoin was 65,000, oh, it was going to do it forever. And now that we're lower, oh my gosh, it's crashing. Moon Lambo, how do you think it's possible that we're not in the bear market? And so it feels to these people that this is just going to go on forever. It just simply is not the case. Given a sufficient amount of time, understand this, this market is in extreme fear right now. Given a sufficient amount of time, this market will enter extreme greed. Just give it, if I don't have to put a timestamp on it because I don't pretend to know when this is going to happen, I'm not some sort of wizard. I just know that this is how markets work. It's true of the stock market. It's true of precious metals. It's true of a crypto asset class. If you're in extreme greed, it will flip to extreme fear and vice versa, given enough time. I mean, unless you think this asset class is just some sort of scam and it's all going away to zero forever, but aren't we past that in 2021? Aren't we a little more sophisticated in 2021? I certainly hope so. And so I want to share with you some opinions about XRP specifically, as well as Bitcoin, because Bitcoin leads the market. We always have to talk about Bitcoin, but from a few analysts. And I want to run through this article too, which is pretty fantastic. It's from the Daily Hodl, and it's titled, "We've seen the worst of this Bitcoin correction," says analyst Nicholas Merton. So plenty to talk about here, but I do want to be clear at the outset, I don't have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say. All right, I'm just an enthusiast, and I think it's fun to talk about these topics, even having to do with price, so I like to share my opinion, but it doesn't mean that I'm right about everything that I believe. Some things that I strongly believe are correct. Let enough time pass. I'm not going to have 100% accuracy, even what I suspect will be the case. And so I just want to be clear about that at the outset, and I'm always open to having my mind changed, because, and I've said this many times in this channel, I just want to believe whatever is true, but I will say in terms of the direction this market's going ultimately, I do have strong conviction. So if you're going to sway me into thinking that we're actually in a bear market right now, you better bring some serious data. You better like for real data here. But anyway, as I record this, XRP is at 65 cents. Bitcoin's at $33,321. Market cap for the asset class is at $1.35 trillion. And Bitcoin dominance at 46.14%. And I want to start by running through a couple parts of this article, actually, from the Daily Hodl, titled, "Top Crypto Analyst Says One Altcoin Set to Erupt 1,000%, Updates Forecast for Bitcoin and XRP." Despite the rough crypto markets, a popular analyst and trader says this bull cycle is not over, and one altcoin in particular is gearing up for a huge rally. This anonymous trader, known in the industry as Credible Crypto, tells his 219,000 Twitter followers that while fear is widespread, he doesn't believe that the market has officially entered bear territory. And by the way, I want to say this to be crystal clear here. The analysts that I've respected and followed for a long time, none of them think we're in a bear market right now. And so what I've been sharing on my channel for the last several weeks or so as we've had all this downward price action, it's by and large information from the same people. I'm not picking out data from people that supports my bias of this being in a bull market still. They happen to believe that, and my humble opinion is they're way more correct than they are incorrect. And so that's why you see, if you follow my channel and the videos where I talk about price a fair bit, you'll see a lot of the time it's the same, 5 to 10 analysts in particular. And I do follow more analysts than that, but there's some that I just kind of favor for whatever reason. Sometimes the way that they word stuff, I find it more interesting, and so I'll feature more so in the video. I can't feature everyone in every single video where I talk about this stuff anyway, but I just want to be clear, the people that have been in the space for years and understand this, and they don't emotionally respond to what's going on in the market, the actual analysts here, they treat this completely different than the typical retail speculator. And yes, I understand. I'm a retail speculator. You are too. Of course, I understand this. But the typical retail speculator, the stereotypical one, behaves way different than I do. That's for damn sure. So check out this quote from Credible Crypto. When I talk about bear markets, I generally consider those periods of prolonged price depreciation across the board after a completed major impulse. Our major impulse hasn't completed yet in this case. I don't consider every correction in the midst of a macro bull market as a bear market. Now that's an awesome quote. And yes, I firmly believe that. All indications are that this market cycle is not over. Now, according to the Analyst, Bitcoin has yet to complete the final impulse wave of a bull market, which tells him that Bitcoin has one more massive move up left in its tank. And by the way, if for any of you that follow the Blockchain Backer, and I think there's a lot of crossover between his channel and mine, I'm willing to bet many of you do, you may have heard him talk about this before. He's not the only one, and he is. I think he's correct. The Credible Crypto's talking about this, and I've highlighted a number of analysts that have been saying the same damn thing here. And so then some of these fly-by-night, quote-unquote, gurus that have popped up ever since the bull market started, they disagree with that because they basically are retail speculators that are running brand new YouTube channels and Twitter accounts clearly based on emotion, following whatever the emotional trend is. That's what they say is going to happen. Good luck, guys. But anyway, here's a quote from another quote from Credible Crypto. I think our drop from 14,000 to 3,800 was our major wave 2. And this drop from 64,000 to 28,000 is our major wave 4, but yeah, the idea is right. This is a major correction, but expecting another major wave to the upside, which would be wave 5, once it's complete. And so it makes all the sense in the world to me, and historically, this is the type of progression that we've seen within market cycles, and I see people behaving pretty much the same as they have in the past. You tell me why you think the trend's going to be broken all of a sudden when we're going to have the shortest bull market in history with only a handful of altcoins popping off, and now Bitcoin's just going to tank like it did before, 80 to 90%. You tell me why that makes sense, because it doesn't make sense to me. Now, looking at XRP, the trader says the crypto asset utilized by Ripple is currently trading around a strong support level. And here's a quote. Yes, alts are bleeding, but I'm more focused on Bitcoin at the moment since it will decide the direction we are headed. Also, XRP is still on major high time frame support, so I'm not getting distracted by this lower time frame price action. And so he still does think that it's going to be moving up, and he actually has stated publicly that he believes that it's a good time to scale into XRP for whatever that's worth. That's what he personally thinks. And then he cited this too. Because he tweeted out the other day, see, you just have to believe, which I think is clever. Get it? B-U-L-L, believe. I like it. In fact, I'm going to hit hard on that right now. So he said that because at the time price was looking pretty good directionally, and somebody wrote to him, I know you know your stuff, Credible Crypto, but is there any valid count, in your opinion, that would take us deeper in terms of deeper down market price, Bitcoin, pick your coin, just the whole market down? Is there a path forward where that becomes reality? Incredible Crypto wrote, we have no confirmation that the current correction is over yet. We could go deeper. And so look, this is an honest analyst. So when we're talking about analysis, it's about probability of outcomes, right? And so we don't know for sure where the bottom is, but look at some of the stuff he's highlighted. I don't know if I do have it here, actually. Look at this. He was talking about Ethereum here, but he wrote, no one should be selling Ethereum at these levels. And it's just fascinating. You got to admit here, like this little green box, if you're looking at the screen right here, weekly demand that preceded bullish breakout after 2-month consolidation. And he noted here that while the price wicked down to this range, buyers just stepped in. And that's also what we've seen with Bitcoin. And so while it's not impossible that we could see things go lower, especially if out of nowhere you see something horrendous happen with the stock market, yeah, crypto would probably follow. But outside of that, it looks like there's a ton of support here. And so given that the whole market moves together, which certainly includes XRP, this might be about as low as things get. But yeah, he's being intellectually honest here. He's saying, yeah, we don't know that for sure, but it looks like the worst has happened already, frankly. That's what I keep seeing from analysts over and over and over again. Now here's Leb Crypto, another chart analyst who wrote, A reminder on a chart I've shared many times now. I remain macro bullish on XRP as long as the rounded bottom structure remains intact. And he's got a chart I'll make full screen in a second. And he wrote, any weekly closes below 40 cents invalidates the structure. And then in parentheses, he wrote unlikely in my opinion. So he does not think that we're going to have a close below 40 cents. Doesn't mean it's impossible to wick below that, but he doesn't expect a weekly close below 40 cents because it would invalidate this pattern, which he's been talking about for, gosh, probably close to a year, maybe longer. I remember seeing him like in the second half of last year talking about this, but I don't know when he initially started. But it's been some time, suffice it to say. But then he did write, but yes, I'm expecting further blood for altcoins midterm. So we shall see. So it's worth watching. And I cited this too. I mean, Bitcoin dominance, it has been increasing because as the market's been plunging, especially over the last several weeks, even as you've seen a little bit of a recovery over the last day or so. Just keep in mind that when things were dropping, alts were dropping at a quicker pace than Bitcoin. But again, ultimately, the market does move in tandem. So I'm not concerned in the least. I don't see sophisticated investors out there parsing out the differences between each cryptocurrency and looking at the utility. That is not what people are doing, which is why last market cycle, when people were behaving exactly the damn same, which was stupid, STOLPID, stupid, every single coin that existed went up parabolically and the charts all look the damn same. If there's an outlier, it definitely wasn't a mid or large cap coin because I've looked at all of them. If there is, or maybe some small cap coins that I'm just unaware of because there's too many thousands of coins, okay, fine, point them out because I'd be curious. But outside of that, everything went, right? And so eventually Bitcoin dominance, it'll climb however high it's going to climb, and then it will crater again. Whether it's down to 35% or 30%, maybe a little bit lower this market cycle, we'll see, but it's going to be way lower than it is right now because altcoins are going to outperform Bitcoin after Bitcoin rallies again. This is just how money rotates through the asset class. It just has historically. And so then there was this from Leb Crypto, and this is from September 24th of last year. And he wrote, thoughts on XRP chart, emphasizing that it's long-term channel bound. And he wrote 80 cents at end of year. Now, mind you, at September 24th, I don't know, maybe I could quickly find the price. I'm willing to bet that it was hovering around the 20 to 30 cent range at that point. How far back is this? So I need, here, let me just go to all-time chart. I believe it was around there at some point, because it's like in September, almost there. Let's just see about, I just want to get it close. Yeah, there you go. So you can see, 24, 25 cents, that's about what it would have been. And he was calling for 80 cents, which we hadn't seen since infinity ago at that point. That's what it felt like anyway. And so people thought that was nutty. But he was calling it in September. There were only a few months left. And guess what? We pretty well hit it. I don't know if it technically got to 78 or 79 or the low 80 cent region. I don't recall. But it for all intents and purposes, he was right. It was hit. And next, he's calling for the following. A revisit of all-time high for XRP during summer of 2021. Now, if memory serves me, summer goes until, I believe, September 22nd. So got a little bit of time for that to happen. Let's see if he ends up being correct about that. If it's, for me though, personally, if it's anywhere in that region, even if it's a little bit after, I'll still be impressed personally, because this is kind of like rough estimates here. But my gosh, running, because you're talking about running up to almost $4 by that point, in which case maybe you'd see a pullback. But then he wrote, moon to $20 plus end of year 2021. So we'll see. And so he is one of those analysts that does think that $20 plus range is reasonable. And there are all sorts of other ones. Credible Crypto is one of them. I know DIY Investing thinks that that's likely. He keeps saying $20 to $30. So there are a lot of analysts that think that. We're still in a bull market, my friends. It's just, if you disagree with me, that's fine. But you've got to articulate your case, because I haven't seen anything compelling other than look at what people are doing that are selling right now. Quit breathing out your mouth, son. Like that. Just bring some facts and data, and I'm willing to be persuaded always. I just haven't seen good arguments. I really haven't. Here's a tweet from chart analyst Michael Vandepop. If everybody wants something, it's probably time to get out. If nobody wants something, it's time to get interested. Right now is that time. And a loss on your portfolio, ? Keep moving forward, evaluating what you've done. That's the way. And so this resonated with me, because whatever the general sentiment is of your typical retail speculator, I found that just going the opposite direction it just works out. Now I don't time markets, and I'm not a trader, so I'm not actually acting on it. I've just observed this to be the case. Like if I were one of those people, just in a general sense, even if I considered myself a macro trader or some crap like that, yeah. I just because when people had the laser eyes and the diamond hands, I was warning. I said, look, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'd be willing to bet there's going to be another massive pullback probably in the not too distant future. I'm sure some of you remember me saying this leading up to this, and I didn't pretend to know when it would be, but I just know that historically this is how markets have performed. This is how people have behaved. Of course it was going to happen. Nothing goes up in a straight line forever. And Bitcoin had one hell of a run, and it was impressive, and I was happy to see it, especially as a Bitcoin holder myself. I'm still holding Bitcoin, and I expect it's going to rebound and do even better at some point, and probably in the not-too-distant future here. And so take a look at this now from the Daily Huddle. Titled, "We've seen the worst of this Bitcoin correction," says analyst Nicholas Merton. Prominent crypto analyst Nicholas Merton says that the worst of the big Bitcoin correction is likely behind us. In a new strategy session, Merton says the presence of the various derivative markets centering on crypto has likely changed the structure of bull cycles as we know it. According to him, the shift in liquidity to derivatives is possibly one of the major reasons why the current cycle is vastly different than the bull market of 2017. And here's a quote. "This is why I'm constantly emphasizing having the patience to understand that this market cycle is very different from 2017, and it has a lot to do with where the liquidity is. In the derivative market, for future markets, for perpetual contracts, it completely disorients the state of the market." Then the piece continues. Merton concedes that though the price action looks atrocious, things probably can't get much worse for Bitcoin and crypto. And here's a quote. "I know on a technical basis, to be completely fair, yeah, the chart doesn't look very good. That's probably the worst part of this, which is that we generally topped out at $40,000, the same range we're back here in early January in this range. If we do decline down here to 28,000 to 27,000, it's going to be a rough spot for markets, and it may take some time to recover, but I'll say that generally, wherever we are right now, or where we go to even if we do decline to that range, historically speaking, you don't want to sell into a 50% to 60% discount." End quote. How about that? Truer words have never been spoken. And there are people at this exact moment that are selling out of tremendous fear. It feels scary right now. And so do you really think, because you'd have to mind it, the market moves in tandem. I'm going to keep repeating that. The market moves in tandem, right? And so for you to be selling right now, you're betting against the market. Do you really believe that the entire crypto asset class is going to zero? Do you actually believe that? Because you must believe that if you're selling right now. Otherwise, it just feels too bad in the moment. What is that? You really don't think that the price is at some unknown point in the future, if you just let it go without a timestamp on it? You don't think it's going to be worth a lot more at some point in the future? Because I'll tell you what, there's 12 years worth of historical data that says you're likely wrong. And so do you want to be that person betting against this entire asset class because you know better? Or is it more likely that you got the fear? Like you got the fear in you? That's way more likely, don't you think? That's how I look at it. It's just like when in the 2008 and 2009 financial collapse. The people thought, oh my God, this is never going to stop going down, however low the market, 30, 40%, whatever it was. Oh my gosh, what if I lose all of my money? Like for you to believe that it made sense to sell in 2008 and 2009 when the market was down 30%, you already endured that. You better have believed that the entire American economy was never going to come back. Because when you're talking about the stock market, it's comprised of like some of if you're talking about publicly traded companies, come on, some of the most well-known companies on the planet. Like, have you heard of the S&P 500, which is a market index? Are you familiar with this? Are you really going to bet against all of that for all time? Because if you think that, fine, then you go ahead and sell everything, get out, this market's down forever. But that's stupid, STOOPID, stupid. And so the people that didn't behave like that, if anything, they doubled and tripled down. They bought more stock at a discount in 2008 and 2009, and then it became worth substantially more in the future. way, way, way more in the future. And so it's the same humans with the same stupid mindset, the same human psychology, the same fear, whether you're talking about stocks or the crypto asset class. And we've seen humans behaving like that in the stock market for 100 years. We've seen it in crypto for 12 years, which is how long this asset class roughly has existed. And so now at these discounts of 50 to 60%, are you really going to make the bet that you know better and this asset class is never going to be worth more in the future? Do you actually believe that? You better have some strong conviction, but I know that these people don't. It's not about them having strong conviction that this isn't going to recover. It's about them having so much fear and it's so painful and there's so much unknown that they just can't handle it and they're out. And if they went out, fine. Look, I'm not telling you to buy or sell or hold. I'm just saying based on historical data, I don't think it makes sense. That doesn't mean I'm telling you to do so and so with your money. I am not. You do whatever feels good to you. And this market's very volatile and not everybody can handle it. And I recognize that too. I'm just saying what my perspective is because it's a fun topic of conversation. Then they write here, the crypto analyst says, regardless of where we are in the cycle, after such a correction, relief rallies generally tend to occur based on Bitcoin's historical price action. And here's the final quote. The thing that I always emphasize is that we've seen generally the worst here. We've seen the worst of this, whether it's a bull market with a mid-cycle correction or the start of a bear market. It tends to be at these 50% to 60% points that you're still going to get a rebound upward, so it's best not to just panic sell into absolute fear. Exactly. And so that's another reason that I've said, even if all of the analysts that I respect and follow, even if they're wrong about the probability of us being in a bear market, and let's say we're in a bear market right now, which I'll cede, it's possible. I just think it's highly unlikely. It's possible. I'll acknowledge it, sure. But even if that's the case, you know what I will do is nothing. I will continue to hold because I don't know better than everybody else on the planet. Come on here. The asset class going to zero? What the hell is that? If it gets lower, is that going to entice someone like me more to sell? No, that's stupid. My gosh, 12 years worth of data says this is trending upward. I know it's not going away because I do understand that there is true utility to cryptocurrency as an asset class. And I understand it's trading in tandem right now. I understand that also that it's not always going to move in tandem. And I will be watching for signs that the market's being, treating different coins differently based on utility and the real world problems they're solving. I'll be watching for that because I don't know when it's going to happen and how quickly it's going to happen. But that's also the reason that I feel so damn good holding XRP, because when that happens, I believe XRP will be judged favorably because it's actually used. And if the rest of my crap coins end up going to zero because that shift happens quickly and I can't do anything about it, okay, fine. My largest holding is XRP and I sleep easy at night. So that's the way I look at it. Not that I think that it's going to be some sort of like snap of the finger thing, but I don't know for sure. I admit that. I don't know when the transfer is going to happen, when the mindset will shift, and I don't know how quickly it's going to happen. I'm just going to keep observing this. And it could be years from now, for all I know. It could be a couple market cycles from now for markets to figure it out, because it's not clear which cryptocurrencies out of the 8,000 plus that exist, it's not clear which deserve to be here. Generally speaking, and I say that the market hasn't figured it out. I feel like at this point it makes sense to believe that XRP will be, unless something changes negatively, in which case I'll let you know if I'm panic selling or I'll scream it from the rooftops. But XRP is functionally being used in enterprise-grade software today. That's a pretty damn good sign, considering that most cryptos don't do a damn thing. And so there we are. You let me know what you think in the comment section below. Tell me how much of an idiot I am because it's actually a bear market and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. And then I would like to screen grab those comments and then go ahead and then after a few months pass or however long it takes, just make a video where I'm like, let's have a little talk right here because your comments aged like a fine milk. I am not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.